Welcome to the Books and Martinis Podcast.
I'm Priya.
And I'm Mercy.
And this is your go-to book podcast,
where we lift, empower, and spotlight authors.
Grab your martini and follow along.
And don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to our podcast. I'm Priya.
And I'm Mercy. Welcome, everybody.
Cheers.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Cheers. Welcome, Chris.
I'm doing great. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
We're so excited to have you
here.
So as you guys can see on YouTube, or you can hear Chris's voice, this is our amazing indie author spotlight. Chris Walters, he was on a previous podcast for a pop-up for his book, God is Good. But today we're talking about another one that's coming out this month in February. We're so excited to spotlight you, Chris.
I'm excited too.
Okay, so Chris Walters is a romance author living in Portland, Oregon with his wife and 2 cats. When not reading, writing, or working his day job, he's an announcer for the Rose City Rollers. Oh, I love that. He self-published his first novel, No One Like You, in June 2024. So wow, you're moving fast, Chris. Book after book.
Love it.
I'm hoping to get 4 out this year.
Wow. Oh, snap. That's amazing. That's amazing. And this is the first one for the year, for 2025. Send Me an Angel. And I'm so glad we're part of your whole launch this month. It comes out February 4th, guys. Obviously, we're interviewing Chris at the end of this month, but definitely check it out. Support him. So Send Me an Angel is a cozy contemporary love story about 2 people who don't know if they deserve a second chance at love, but find it anyway. Oh, I love that. Devika's arranged marriage failed, and she's given up on dating. Brad is recently divorced and is trying to turn his life around. Together, maybe they'll lift each other up. Oh, how sweet is that? Oh my God.
I cannot wait. Wait to read it.
Yes.
I'm excited about that. Oh, that's fantastic. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself for our listeners to get to know you just a little better?
Well, I work in the public school system. I run a high school cafeteria. That's my day job.
Okay.
As Priya mentioned from my bio, I'm also a roller derby announcer, and I also announce high school sports at the school that I work at.
So I need to pause right here, because roller derby, are you like loud and obnoxious as they're going around the arena?
We are very professional as announcers, and if you go to the Rose City Rollers YouTube channel, you can hear me. I'm usually the broadcast announcer, and oftentimes I'm the MC, so I'm the guy down in front of the entire crowd, like doing the whole intro. Oftentimes, it's a blast. It's a really fun, inclusive, and diverse and uplifting sport. And so it's a good time. And yeah, I've been announcing for 8 years now, and I've traveled around the country. I even traveled to France about 18 months ago to announce at the Junior Roller Derby World Cup.
What? I had no idea.
He's like the one to follow. He's an
Yes,
example
that's so
to the
exciting,
rest.
Chris. Why you need to post about this stuff more often? We need to see some action shots. You hosting these roller derbies. You should
I'll throw some
definitely.
stuff on my Instagram.
Yeah, that's so much
That's
fun.
really interesting.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
So,
and my
go ahead.
roller derby name is Puns and Roses.
Oh, get out.
Oh,
That's
snap.
so cool.
I love that. Puns and Roses. Let me do my rock on sign. Yes.
Super cool.
So I cut off your go ahead. Tell us more about you. I cut you up.
Yeah, so the only creative writing I've really done was history term papers in college.
Mhm.
And so I don't know, about a year or so, a little bit over a year ago, a buddy of mine sat me down. We were having breakfast one day, and he said, "Dude, you should write a book." Personally, I think he wanted a writing accountability partner because he was trying to finish off a novel.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know, I thought it was a dumb idea because I'd had some ideas, but nothing Anyway, so he says, go home, write some stuff down, and just write something.
Mhm.
So I wrote down some ideas in a notebook, and they're all terrible. And so my sort of one secret weakness is I love rom-com movies. Like
Aw.
That's
those
great.
cheap Hallmark, like you know what's going to happen like 30 seconds in rom-coms. Love those things.
Yeah.
But one of the things that drives me crazy is like the massive overuse of the miscommunication trope. And so I don't know, for some reason I just got it into my head like I, maybe I should write a book where like people actually communicate. And
There's a thought.
right. And so suddenly like these characters are just talking in my head and I start writing and um then in June my first novel I published it. I had no idea what I'm doing. Still have like the tiniest little idea of what I'm
Mhm.
doing. I'm just fumbling around and going with the flow and I don't know. It's happening.
It works. And
But
it just
so
works.
yeah, like um it's a really fun creative outlet.
Yeah.
You know, for my job working in a kitchen, a lot of it's very routine. We're doing similar, if we're not necessarily doing the same things every day, but
Yeah.
Right.
doing similar sorts of tasks.
Mhm.
And so I've just found like my brain sort of percolates all day, and like I get home and I just start writing.
Oh, I love that. Finding your
Wonderful.
inspiration. I love that. And so did it take you long to craft? So let's go back to Send Me an Angel. What inspired you to write that specific story? Because I know like God is Good is completely different.
Oh, God is Good is very different.
Very different. So tell us more about Send Me an Angel. What inspired you to write it and how long it took to craft?
So once I finished No One Like You, to go on a little the backstory of No One Like You, it follows Megan, who comes home, finds her husband cheating on her, leaves her husband, takes her daughter with her, um, is driving towards Portland because she is trying to get out of Eastern Oregon, doesn't know
Yeah.
what to do, and she calls her best friend from college, Tasha, who'd moved to Portland a few years ago. They'd sort of drifted apart, and Tasha says, "Stay with me," and then
Mhm.
they do, and romance happens.
Oh,
Um, and so through it over the course of No One Like You, there's a few chapters where you meet Brad, who is Megan's soon-to-be ex-husband. Um, and
that's interesting.
yeah,
Mm.
and so Brad is not quite sure exactly how much I could say on YouTube or a podcast, but Brad is a
Say it.
jerk.
That's not bad. He's a jerk.
Yeah,
Brad's a
yeah.
jerk.
Let's leave it at Brad's a jerk. He's someone who he's was his dad was sort of one of the prominent men in his town in Eastern Oregon,
Hmm.
played sports, went to college playing baseball. So he sort of like got that kind of like privileged alpha male mentality.
Yeah.
And so he's never really been like, he's charming, he's handsome, he's a nice enough guy, but he was never really a great guy.
Hmm.
Um, and you find out that like he's definitely had his bad points. And then sort of before the book, COVID hits and he goes down some rabbit holes, as many people did during that time, and he gets into some dark places. So he's not in a great spot at the end of No One Like You. And but he's sort of coming around after Tasha reads him the Riot Act and basically says you know, you need to get yourself together and become the person that your daughter thinks you are.
Oh, snap.
Mhm.
And so it's not really shown within the context of that book how that resonates with him.
Hmm.
Um, and I never really intended to write this particular sequel to No One Like You, but it just kept in my head that like Brad needed to have his redemption story.
Yeah.
That
And there's always two
because
sides to a story too, right?
yeah,
So,
because I really sort of fell in love with the characters within that book, and
yeah.
Sophia Megan and Brad's daughter, I wanted her to have a dad who wasn't a jerk,
Hmm.
and
Mm.
so I wrote "Send Me an Angel." It's the
Oh,
only book that I've written that's not set in Portland. It's set in Seattle,
Yeah.
uh, which I visited a few times because it's 3 hours away. Lovely city, and not many Portlanders necessarily say that about Seattle. There's some weird rivalry going on between
Oh.
the two.
okay. Good to
Sure
know.
what it is, but anyways, I like Seattle. Anyways, so I decided to set this book in Seattle to give Brad some space away from Megan and Sophia,
Mhm.
and of course he needs a love interest, which is where Devika comes in. And so, yeah, that was sort of the genesis of "Send Me an Angel." Was Brad needed his redemption story, and as I'm writing and Priya comes more into focus, um, she
You mean
has her.
Davika?
Sorry,
Davika.
yeah, you're Priya. I'm looking at your name. Sorry.
Oh, funny.
That's okay. I mean, we're
Uh,
both Indian. I
True.
mean,
As Devika comes more into focus, she develops her own characteristics, and she was a fun character to write as well. So it was a challenging book to sort of go from where Brad starts to where he ends up.
mhm.
How
And
long
then
did it take you to craft it?
first draft took me a little bit over a month.
Oh,
Oh,
wow. Okay.
that's pretty good.
Fantastic.
I was in a kind of like crazy zone for the first half of last year.
Mhm.
I knocked out eight first drafts in 8 months.
What?
Yeah, it was. I
I,
don't
I
even
want to
know
be that. I
where.
want to be that level because I'm still like trudging along with my space opera that I'm writing.
Yeah,
I want to be that level.
I have not been able to get back to that level of. I think the more that I do this and like have to deal with like all the aspects of marketing and self promotion, and
Hmm.
it just sort of takes away from the time and energy that I put into writing. So
Yeah.
I'm not nearly as prolific as I was for those first 8 months before I knew anything about like what I was doing.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so the fruits of that will be coming out for most of the rest of this year as I knock out some of the books that I wrote during that time and get them out over the course of the year. But yeah, um, so it like I said, it took me a little bit over a month to write "Send Me an Angel."
Wow. Wow. So what advice would you give writers and authors in your genre that are working on their book? If we're talking about the process and it took you a month, which is like that's insanely quick. I
Yeah,
mean, we've
I
heard people say like 1 week, to be honest, but 1 month is quick. But if your inspiration is flowing, that's just like perfect. That's perfect, the perfect sauce. So, what advice would you give writers that are in your genre that want to get into it?
find support networks.
Mm,
That is so valuable. I've got uh, a support network of romance writers within the greater Portland area that I'm a part of, where we can talk and answer questions and do events. We've got some events coming up, which is
mhm.
very cool.
What events do you
Um,
have coming up? Tell us.
so in early February, we've got something called Kinks and Candy.
What?
Yes. Uh, so there's going to be speed dating with an author where people can like spend like 2 minutes like talking with an author, ask them all the questions they want,
Yeah.
and then change people. So there's going to be speed dating with an author. There's going to be a
Mhm.
shibari class uh, for those who are interested in rope bondage, and
Whoa.
yeah.
Whoa. Chris, you're like sleeper cell right now. This is amazing. Okay, good, good.
There's going to be we're going to have some voice actors reading out scenes. We're going to have cosplayers there doing like professional cosplayers
Yeah.
doing some Fourth Wing cosplay. So yeah, and it's going to be, I think, a great time. There's going to be some vendors there, including one of the local adult boutiques, selling various items that some of which may appear in some of our books. So yeah, it's that's going to be fun.
Wow.
We've got we're selling books at the Oregon Museum of Science and Industry on Valentine's Day.
Okay, can we talk about the difference right here? You got kinky stuff, and then you got a science museum.
Yeah, well, OMSI, the Oregon Museum of Science and Industry, does like these after dark things, which are there's various themed events for their OMSI After Dark, and so this one is I think called Promsy. Instead of OMSI. So yeah, we're going to have a table there selling books. We were at a holiday market before the holidays. So yeah, it's a great support network. I've got 2 in-person writing groups that I go to where we do like sprints and then chat with for a bit and then more sprints. So that's been a lot of fun. Yeah, and I've got Instagram support groups.
Right. Yeah, those we're familiar with. Those are great. That's fantastic. That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so
really good.
Those support networks can really help. And joining like the whole Tempest community has been great for me. That's
good.
Priya and the book that I'm currently working on now, I got the inspiration from one of the character trains we did last fall.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh,
that's great.
Can you say anything about that? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I just wanted to ask, but go ahead, tell us.
So
which character train was it? What you could tell us that at least.
One of the ones around Halloween. It was like a monster character train.
Oh, okay.
And so I created like this 5-panel thing about a guy who summons a demon and sends it after all of his perceived enemies at college.
Yeah.
And there's this girl that he's got a crush on, and he sends the demon after her, and her cat like sends the demon away, and then the demon like tries to like figure out what's going on with this girl, and the two of them fall in love, and then they try to off the guy who summoned the demon.
Oh, I love it. I love like it's like a rom-com dark romance.
Yes, it's got a lot going on, and so I'm 39,000 words into that.
Wow.
Is there anything else about yourself that you'd like to tell our listeners,
or your book?
Your upcoming book.
It's fun. It's cozy. Yeah, I feel like a lot of us have stories inside of us, and it's just a matter of like figuring out how to let them out. I never knew that I had these stories inside of me, and once I started, I just can't stop.
I love that.
It's such a fun process and such an amazing creative experience. I encourage everybody to at least give it a shot.
I love that, and we cannot wait to share your book. Please do share with us so that we can share with all of our listeners your book as soon as it's out, how they can get their own copy and what's the easiest way of getting that copy so that they can have it as soon as it's out.
Well, it'll be available from the giant store in the sky that we all know of. But
Amazon.
Yeah. So far, all of my books have been carried at Grand Gesture Books, which is a romance-focused bookstore in Portland, Oregon.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, good.
Oh.
And so you can get them if you're in Portland from the store itself, or online from the store. You can get some of my books in person at Powell's in Portland, or all of them are available through Powell's website. So yeah, I mean, shop independent when you can.
Absolutely, always.
Yes, I love that plug. Yes, shop independent. Yeah, and I love that you're being featured in your local bookstore. Like that's amazing, and that just having that validation from your community, it's like so powerful, especially when you're trying to stay motivated and inspired to promote your books, and you're an indie author on top of that. So you're like the whole company right there. You have to do the marketing, the writing, the editing, everything.
Absolutely.
It's a lot.
Yes.
Broadway Books also has some of my books. the Romance Hero Bookshop in Vancouver, Washington has my books. So yeah, I'm not sure if you can order them from Romance Hero, but if you're in Vancouver, you can buy them there.
Yeah.
Broadway, you can order my books from there. So it's
wonderful. Well, thank you.
Love it. Well, we're so happy to have you as our Spotlight Indie author today. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to include all your links and your information about Send Me an Angel in the summary below. So everybody, please go and click on those links and support Chris Walter's work, and like, share, follow. And should we do a cheers? Let's do another cheers.
I think we should. So everybody, grab your martinis and be sure to follow along. Chris, thank you so much for your time and for all of the art that you put out there for all of us to read. Please keep at it and keep us in mind. So you can keep sharing your books. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. This has been great. Thank you.
Our pleasure. Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.